everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Movies on Our Minds. On this show, we get to talk about movies such as action, comedies, thrillers, prequel, sequels. This is technically a prequel sequel, you know.
Yeah.
Probably the best prequel trilogy, actually, now that you think about it.
Pretty dope.
Specifically the movie that we're all thinking about. And the movie that we're thinking about today is the latest film, War for the Planet of the Apes. Now, before we begin, I'd like to introduce our guest. We have returning man Devon.
I'm not even really a guest anymore, man. I've just been on vacay.
Yeah, it's been on vacay. Funny enough, we didn't really get a lot of people that saw the film. Me and him saw it at a screening, and we said, no, we still got to get our opinions out there, because as soon as the movie was over, we were like, we got to talk about it. You know, this is a great film, really.
Nope.
And yeah, let's do it. If it's just me and you, let's do it.
Get right into it.
And, well, so you already know we're going to start with the cast and character, starting with Andy Serkis as Caesar. You know, this is his third time in the character role. How did you feel like he did?
Did great.
Okay.
Not just because, it was just voiceover. The fact that it was voiceover, I think it makes it even harder.
It wasn't voiceover. He did the motion capture, too.
Well, all right, well, then that makes it even better. Well, because, that's what they do now with most animated movies, where they put him in the suit and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I was still just going off the voice alone. Because Caesar is that older leader. So he doesn't want violence.
Yeah.
But
you can tell he matured, too, throughout the trilogy, you know.
And even if you were to just close your eyes and just listen to his voice, you can hear his emotion. You can hear the love for his sons. How upset he was when his sons died, and how he wanted peace and everything. Did an incredible job. And like I said, if I was a blind person and I couldn't physically see the movie, I still would have enjoyed the dialogue of the movie.
Dialogue was great, even though he had like just simple sentences, because I don't know, it was the fact that he was talking to apes throughout the whole entire time, and you know, they understand English but they don't speak English.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, even for him to communicate through English with them most of the time. So
yeah, I mean,
cool.
it just doesn't seem like they are as evolved as he is.
Mm-hmm.
So they're evolved enough to understand, but for them to actually be able to fix their mouth and make the sound is two different things.
Right.
So, great movie.
Or even like the times that he didn't even have dialogue, but you just knew that he was the one in power. Like at the when they were sitting at the table. And, well, not the table, the circle gathering at the beginning. And even one of the apes was like, we got to go tonight. And it just started this little rally. And then Caesar just stood up. You can
see his dominance.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know what you call a group of monkeys. I know lions, they're pride. But within that family of monkeys, you see how well respected he is. Is he the biggest ape? Not size-wise, but dominance. He has that. That's all him.
Yeah, he was working on that since the first one. So he's really came back from that.
For sure.
All right, what about Woody Harrelson as the Colonel? So, to me, I don't want to say he's the villain, per se, but more so the antagonist. Like, of course you don't side with him, because the way he's handling his troops compared to Caesar, it's in a way you would think of evilness, but he's really just as much a survivor as Caesar, when you think about it. And that's why I was like,
I see he had the same power as Caesar.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. He may not be the oldest person in his camp.
Mm-hmm.
He may not be the strongest person physically. He may not be the biggest person. But his position, his title is what gives him that power. It gives him the biggest, the bulkiest person. Him and Caesar, they have the same amount of power on two different ends of the spectrum. You know, one's for, hey, we just want our peace. You know, we don't want control of the world. We don't want war. We just want y'all to leave us alone. The other one is, we have to take y'all out in order to get control of the world.
This is why he killed Caesar's family at the beginning. Did he want to kill Caesar's family at the beginning, or did he say like, no, I wanted to kill you. I thought that was you at first, and then I was mistaken. And I kept going.
I don't recall, but probably you can see from where they slept.
Mm-hmm.
In their spot in the cave. You know, and if he wanted to kill Caesar, he probably would have went after Caesar because he turned around and looked at him. They made eye contact. They had physical contact right then and there, and he just kicked them off. So I think he wanted a reason for them to come so he can capture them. Or, they always say an angry fighter is not a good fighter. Right. Or an angry fighter is a sloppy fighter. Hey, let me get you upset. That way you can start slipping up and start making mistakes. I think there's a mistake for Caesar for him and 3 or 4 other apes to roll by themselves. Mm-hmm. They easily could have crowded around them. That would have been movie over.
Well, what did you think about Woody Harrelson as the role? Do you usually see him play these type of roles?
No. I usually think of White Man Can't Jump. I'm like, man, I wonder. And like I said, I usually see him in a comedic role, or he's always the older person. Like I said, just comedic relief.
Right.
So like I said, this was a complete 180.
So to see him take over and just shave his head bald is just like,
I love it.
See some range right here that you don't really see so much. Okay, cool. All right. Usually those were the only characters that stuck out to us in this one. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the plot, which really was like, this is what's really grabbing us right now. Yeah. Well, that and Caesar and Ghana.
Yeah.
Of course. So first thing I want to talk about is the parallelism that you brought up when we saw this at the screening of how. What exactly did you mean when you said that?
History repeats itself, and just seeing the colonel, and in the morning when he had his troops saying their little chant, mm-hmm. and they had the banners hanging down. Scotch is shaving his head, and they're chanting up to him like he's a god. He's their deity, and he wants world power. Let's take out all the apes, and let's confine them. And eventually, what did he do? He moved them into was kind of like concentration camps.
Right.
So I look at that as Nazism. I'm like, man, this guy's playing a real life Nazi. Is what I felt like.
Or Hitler, really?
Yeah, Hitler. Okay. He's Hitler. The army is they are the Nazis. Mm-hmm. So like I said, that was one thing that got me. Caesar as a character, you see him go from Dr. King. Hey, y'all may attack us and y'all may do what y'all want, but we don't want any problems. We're all about world peace. Let us just live our lives.
And you saw that too when at the beginning when there was like the semi-war. And he let the soldiers go, and saying that itself is a message.
Yeah, because we could have done things to them,
mm-hmm.
but we didn't. We let them go about their lives. And then after his family was killed, he went from Dr. King not wanting any violence to Malcolm X any means necessary. But it was the other ape that he mentioned that was in the previous movies that he killed. He was like, hey,
Koba.
Yeah, he said, I'm turning into him. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I didn't want to happen. But it's happening now. So, I mean, even though it wasn't always a physical war going on, you mm-hmm. still seen a war, an unintentional internal war within himself. I don't want to become this person, but for so long, me not wanting to become this person is exactly what's happening. I'm still becoming this person. So it was something else.
Okay. Something else that you mentioned, when you mentioned Hitler in this film, it made me go back and think of the other films, because in like Rise of the Planet of the Apes, it was somewhat like a Nat Turner rebellion, because even though he didn't really kill anybody, that's when Caesar rose up to power and said, all right, we're going to go and take over what's ours, especially before the virus started spreading out, yada, yada, yada. So the first one was Nat Turner. Third one was Adolf Hitler. Symbolism or parallelism, as you put it. Mm-hmm. I can't really put my finger on Dawn of the Planet of the Apes yet. I'm still thinking about that one. Hopefully,
go back and review that one.
Yeah. But it's just interesting that you said that. I hope maybe somebody out there can tell us. Who knows? Something else that I liked about this film was the cinematography and the score. If you notice, just certain ways, like when Woody Harrelson killed Caesar, not Caesar, his family, right? And you just slowly see Caesar looking at him, and he's like, what is he looking at that's not me? And the camera just slowly pans down and sees the family.
Oh, yeah.
And you can say that's typical or, anybody could do that. No, it was the way they did it, the timing of it, the slow motion capture of it.
Because that was the whole cave or grotto
Mm-hmm.
And then for that to pan over to see all the destruction, and even when you got to the Colonel, they both gave each other that death stare before they met face to face, and it was just like, hey, Coach family, what you gonna do about it?
And then for him to jump and get on the road.
Oh yeah, that was
mm-hmm.
or even the way that they captured the names. I feel like with the 1-8 that they called Donkey. Why did they call him Donkey? You see that on his back, they caught that clearly. I'm like, they did a good job making sure that it stayed there long enough that they can capture it, and just to see the people around them and how they reacted and how they acted with the apes. That was beautiful shots all the way through, whether it was a grim looking shot or whether it was, in the very ending where they showed, hey, this is our new home, this is our new land, and they showed, hey, this is where we want to live.
What about the score? Even like at the beginning, they didn't even. Well, you know how with the music for 20th Century Fox, dun, 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 dun. No, it was kind of like whispering music because it was already putting you in the film. With the music and the nature behind it.
The score captures your attention.
Mm-hmm.
Before you could sync sound, vocal sound to movies, when you had silent films, you still had the music. And the music, the way it crept in
this film,
it's like when someone whispers, you have to focus to really hear what they're saying. You have to be really quiet. So the music alone, whispering, was like, hey, you got to really pay attention, because you don't know if it's gonna whisper and then something drastic is going to happen, but like it really set the tone and really set the movie, and it gave you a reason to sit there and focus. It gave you a reason not to nod off. And so the score was beautiful.
Simple moments too. It's like how Caesar fell into the water. It wasn't a big splash. It was just like, that's the simple things that brings you closer to the story.
You gotta love Foley artists. Respect them.
What about the dialogue too in this film? Because we talked about how when Caesar was talking, just the way he talked already was empowering.
Mm-hmm.
But the lines that they gave him because of the sentences that they had, or even the dialogue they gave the Colonel when he explained why he is the way he is. What did you think about that?
Me personally, I say that the dialogue is dynamic.
Okay.
Even though the apes had simple sentences and simple words, the dialogue between them, all the other apes, not all the other apes, but majority of the other apes could not speak English. But for them to be able to, I guess that was American Sign Language or Monkey Sign Language. No, I'm sorry, Ape Sign Language, as we're going to call it. For them to not be able to speak English but understand what Caesar's saying, and for them to be able to respond, that's epic right there in its own. His son, from the looks of it, it's like his son would go back and forth between the sign language and verbally speaking and stuff like that, and like I said, that was just epic, and just like I said, the way that they spoke to one another, or even when they come up on the girl, even though she couldn't speak, by the one ape giving her the doll.
Let me ask you something with the girl. Do you feel as if her role was necessary in the film? Like she played a major part? Because a lot of people were thinking that she's in there, but what is she there for? It's not like she was just thrown in there, but what was her purpose? Do you feel as if...
I feel like she's there to show them that not all humans are bad.
Okay.
Because if that was her dad, who I'm assuming that was her dad who they killed, because he was going to try to shoot them first.
Well, the thing is, with I can see that more if she was like an adult, but as a kid that couldn't talk, maybe she was just a child to where she looks at the whole world friendly so much.
I mean, she doesn't have the ability to speak, but she can still communicate with them because eventually she picks up the sign language herself when she goes, the apes together and everything, and she found ways and she communicated, and like I said, so I mean that shows how even though you could be on two different ends of the world, you can still have a common goal to live in peace and harmony.
Okay.
So I mean, I definitely think that if she didn't say anything, she played her part.
Cool. I can see that.
There's no such thing as small roles. She's just small actors. So, and like I said, even if she was a small actor, she had a major role to me.
What about Bad Ape? Now, did you like the character within this film? Because we kind of skipped that with casting characters, but with Bad Ape, it's just like, how did you feel his not portrayal, but did he belong in the film so much?
Yeah.
Like, was he more than just a comedic relief? In this sense?
He was needed because he could explain to them, hey, I came from a zoo, so this is what happened to me. And then he could also let them know, hey, you don't want to go to their human zoo because this is what they do. So, like I said, there's no such thing as a small role. So he even played a bigger part and said, hey, going into their human zoo, this is what you're going to look forward to because it's not what you're thinking. So, like I said, so even that one sentence was critical information and whatnot. And even for him to just want to, like, hey, we ain't got to go back to the human zoo. We can just stay here and be family. That's what we can really do. And even then, he played his part. When he was digging and realized, hey, there's water coming in, or you could see his compassion. Like when he seen that the little girl was cold, what did he do? He took off his jacket, went over to her, gave her his jacket. Like I said, that shows compassion and everything. Or right before they take off on the journey, comes out to give his thumbs up and made everybody laugh. That said, he was needed for comedic relief, but even though he was a comedic relief character, he still played his part.
What about the title of this film? Now, this is where I have some concerns because for this to be called War for the Planet of the Apes, and I understand this is like the finale of the trilogy, which means there could be more that comes about, like, Pirates of the Caribbean or Star Wars. This is the end of Caesar's trilogy, and it was built up to be a war, but it wasn't so much war. It was more like Escape for the Planet of the Apes. I feel like that could have been a better title. Do you see that, or do you feel like War is the appropriate title for this?
I feel like War is the appropriate title.
Okay, how so?
Because when you say war isn't always gunfighting and cannons and stabbing and fist fighting. War is a conflict. Like I said, Caesar had an internal war with himself. He wanted so bad to not become Koba, he eventually would see himself as Koba. He would see Koba popping up in front of him and talking to him. They have, it's two different, worlds here. The human has their world where they want to exterminate all apes, and then Caesar, him and his clan, they have a war of, hey, we don't want a problem with y'all humans. We just want to live peacefully.
You see, I understand that, but those to me are like certain elements of the film. That's not really the main central plot of this film. The plot is escaping. It's these apes in concentration camps and they have to get out. Or more so, that's the second half. The first half is the adventure for revenge.
Yeah.
Again, I just don't see war. I see parts in there that has to do with war. I just don't see that being the title. Just like how some people
all that within itself is war. It's a fight or a war to get them out of the concentration camp. Mm-hmm. He's fighting with the war, even though we want peace and we don't want to do anything. You killed my family, so now it's a revenge war, and stuff like that. So I say war is a good title for it.
Were there any flaws that you had in this film? Like anything, even if you want to call it like nitpicking, but just something like, I don't know about that. Like, for example, how when the apes were escaping, no guards caught that. I understand that there was other stuff going on, but like
But the fact that the little girl could walk perfectly through that concentration camp, and I'm like, all right, Y'all didn't catch that?
Yeah. And then
if that's the case, I feel like the wars could have. I felt like the apes could have climbed the walls perfectly and get out. But you know what? If it was that simple, the movie would have been over in 10 minutes. Yeah. So you have to add conflict to it.
Or what about when they threw the shit at the guy? Here's my concern. It's not the fact that you threw it at him. It's the fact that you were above them and said who threw that, came down the stairs and walked in there to see specifically who did it when you could have done it from up there. That's just a nitpick of mine.
I mean, to a certain extent, it's like, okay, you got the little concentration camp courtyard, but it's like you got 2 guards, whatever, or 4 guards, but they're all looking out the opposite way, not looking into, the courtyard. So if you get flung with some poo, you can be like, all right, yo, who did that? All the apes look the same from up that high. So I want to come down and see what was really happening. But what difference does it make? Because poo and mud look the same. The way they made it look.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure you smelled that.
But they're all apes. They're all down there pooing everywhere. So what difference does it make? So, but the fact that it happened, I don't see that as a flaw. But I mean,
well, no, that's why I called that a nitpick. I just felt like that was a nitpick. But here's another question I have: was the scene to where you remember there was water coming in and they had to close down, not the door per se, but it was Maurice and Bad Ape and the girl underneath, and they said, "Oh, water's coming in." They close it down. Where did that go? Like, did they come back with that, or did I miss that? Did that have something to do with that avalanche?
Well, no. What happened was, they never discovered where the water was coming from. I don't believe. But so what they had to do was they said no, because they said, "Hey, it's water from down below." So that could have been sewage from the plumbing from the camp. They're like, "Hey, so we have to find another way to get the kids out." That's what made them climb the rope.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're like, hey, we can't get the kids out underground, so they have to get out overground, but now we have to do something in order to get them out.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Smart planning.
You think it's also crazy, too, how, like, the character that he, not sacrificed, but he spared his life at the beginning of the movie Caesar, and how he came back and he still stabbed him at the end. Like, did you feel as if, like, no, he spared your life? I thought you were, like, one of those good humans in the bad group type deal, but it turned out, like, no, I'm just as,
I mean, honestly, I didn't know what to expect. Because when he was in their control, he looked so scared. He looked frightened. So I'm like, hey, if that was me, I'm like, y'all, you know what? Y'all can punish me all y'all want to, but guess what? They just want peace. Leave me out of it. Hey, so not right now. But also it's that's the military for you. They break you down and build you up to what they want you to be. So like, all right, I was caught by my enemy, and he let me go. Oh, and now they're gonna say, you know what? He let you go. He said you weren't even good enough to kill for him. Let's go back and get revenge. So I mean, that's just the whole mental thing. Like I said, they break you down and build you up to what they want you to be. And I said if that was me. I'm like, hey, first off, I didn't even really see too many black people up in the movie. I'm like, hey,
yeah, I had to point out one or two for you. Like,
y'all ain't getting me. So I would have let it be. But that's even more parallelism right there. The fact that it seems like the army was mostly white. And unfortunately, the apes were black people. But whatever.
We always got that. Okay. With the ratings.
But before you get to the ratings, something that I forgot to mention earlier. I know I mentioned how the army was like the Nazis. But even in the end, what happened was the colonel said, hey, my son caught the disease. I loved him. I had to kill him. The person who was taking care of him had to kill him. I think it was like 2 or 3 people he had to kill.
I think it was all like 3 guys in the snow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Also those guys too. But he was like, what ended up happening was right before the guy could give me his findings, he started to lose. He lost speech, so I had to kill him. And the way that the colonel went out, spoiler, he committed suicide.
The spoilers, anyway. So.
What ended up happening was. Like I said, even that pertains to Adolf Hitler. When they said he was about to get caught, he took a cyanide pill, whatever, and then he shot himself. And just in the end, the fact that he was looking for the bottle to drink more of, So I first thought he was like really drunk until I realized that Caesar grabbed the gun and Caesar's like, yo, I could bust a cap in your head right now. And the fact that he didn't, he was like, he wanted him to kill him. He was like, you know what? I can't speak anymore. Go ahead, do it. And so the fact that Caesar watched him do it, like I said, that's just that right there. The dialogue and the parallelism right there is just epic.
The first thing I thought about, honestly, was the movie The Fly. I don't know if you've seen the ending, but when he came out the pod, he was a fly, and then I don't know. That's what I thought it was, The Fly. So, but okay. Now, what would you give this rating? Instead of going out of 10, we're gonna go with letters because I feel like that's more of the stamp on the film. So much because I don't know why we keep being like 7.85, 89.5. It's just.
I would give the movie an A.
Okay, an A. One more time, why would you give an
A? Like I said, they manage. It's no big, huge, all out 15-minute, 10-minute war scene, but they have small individual battles throughout the movie, and that was nice. Like I said, that the movie with the cinematography, with the sounds, with the dialogue, the comedic stuff. They keep you captured. It's never really a dull moment.
Okay.
But the movie is 2 hours and 22 minutes long.
But didn't necessarily so much feel that.
Didn't feel like it.
Only because you're really invested in this film.
Yeah.
You know, there are some films out there to where it's like
you just know it's long.
Yeah, you look at your watch type deal.
But besides that, like I said, I give it an A. But also, I haven't seen the first two. So I probably got to go back and watch the first two and then see this one, and that might make me change my rating on it altogether. I may give it an A+. Okay. So definitely worth going to see.
To piggyback off of you, I also give it an A. I was thinking A-, but the more I think about it, the more I actually do want to give it a solid A. This was a really fantastic film, you know, just even at the beginning, the way they brought you into it. And I even like how, since you didn't see the first two, and I knew that going in as well, but they had the credits to show you, like, first it was Rise, then it was Dawn, now we're here at War. So I was like, okay.
They always have, like, a certain word in the going to red and stuff like that.
That was cool to help you out. So that's just one thing. Like you said, the cinematography, the score, Andy Caesar as Circus. The man knows how to do motion capture. Remember, this is Gollum. This is Archibald Halleck. I think that's how you say it, from Adventures of Tintin. That's one of my favorite Spielberg films. It's like an animated Raiders of the Lost Ark. But the dude nailed it as Caesar in this one, just like he did the first two. Mm-hmm. I like the human characters in this one because they keep switching it up in every film. This one was darker, and I thought Woody Harrelson did a great job. Overall, I just enjoyed the experience. I personally hope they stop making Planet of the Apes, or at least this one. This is a great prequel trilogy. First, second, third, it was
just
great.
Keep it at 3. Don't try to reboot it in another 10 years.
Or don't even try to, like, at the end, you know, Caesar, quote unquote, dies. We don't see it, but we see him, like, falling down. So, you know, we think this is the end of Caesar, but then here comes a fourth one. Oh, no, he's stitched up. Here we go. Back to another whatever.
Or better yet, his son will come out of nowhere. You know what? My dad died because he's human, so let me go back and get him.
It's just
I feel like if they were to do a fourth one, that would be it right there.
But actually, I heard if they are to do a fourth one, it would tie in more to, like, the 60s Planet of the Apes. Now we're going to go back closer to that, because again, this is a prequel trilogy.
Back when they were wearing a mask.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, but again, that's my rating as well, an A. Devin, thank you for watching the movie with me, because you were the person that came to the screening with me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, no doubt. Now, if you don't mind, tell the good people where they can find you.
Y'all can find me on Facebook, Devon Cole, DEVONCOLE. I'm on Instagram, DCole, the number 24K. That's DCole 24K. I ain't got a Twitter. Not yet. I don't really want one yet, but...
Do you have any projects you're working on that you want people to know, or is they on the cover, you know?
I'm working on becoming an actor myself, so look out for me sooner or later.
Okay.
Snapchat, Cortez Deshawn. So that's CORTZ or DESHONN, or DD Cole 24. Look me up on one of those two. Funny content on my Instagram and everything else. Hit your boy up.
Cool. Well, guys, you already know where you can find me, Baroko, BROKO. Guys, we want to know what you thought about War for the Planet of the Apes. I'm really shocked I couldn't find many people who have seen this weekend. Maybe they were too busy. Maybe they weren't interested. Whatever the case may be, guys, see this film.
Please.
This is a great film.
Don't say that often.
It really.
Don't say that often.
Yeah. I hope you see the first two before going into this personally, because I'm personally not the fan of going to see movies if you haven't seen previous ones.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you again one more time. And oh my gosh, I'm so used to think something else. I have another video project I'm doing. Like, I got that.
You gotta do outtakes for this video. Post it on there.
Oh, that's so many outtakes. All right. Well, guys, we want to thank you again for watching, and we will see you next time on Movies on Our Minds.